Good morning. We are going to start learning about converting units of measurements. The good news is this is not entirely new material because what we're going to do is we are going to solve measurement conversion problems using proportions. And for those of you that have forgotten, a proportion is when we set up a ratio equivalent to another ratio. And then we can either find the scale factor here, or we can cross multiply. We can also find the scale factor here. So this should be familiar once we get started and get into it. Alright, you can write a proportion. We are going to first, this says, what does your math chart say? Here's your math chart that they're talking about. This is the STAR chart, and it's important for you to familiarize yourself with this. This will be part of the STAR test. It will be available for you to look at. One side of it has metric equivalents. The other side has formulas for area and volume, which we'll get into that in the next unit or the following unit. We're going to use this side for Unit 8, though. Okay, so for example, if I want to change yards to feet, I'm going to look on here and I'm going to look at my ratio, 1 yard to 3 feet. I'm going to write my labels, yards, feet, 1 yard equals 3 feet. And then, let's say I want to know how many feet 12 yards is. Okay, so I'm going to find my scale factor. Times 12. Times 12. So this would be 36. 12 feet is 36 yards. Sorry, 12 yards is 36 feet. Okay. At the bottom it says, how many quarts are in 4 gallons? So again, I'm going to look on here. I'm going to find the one that says gallons and quarts. Okay, I've got 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. I'm going to put my labels. Okay. And then we said, what, 1 gallon is 4 quarts. And it wants to know how much is in 4 gallons. So now I can use my scale factor like we did up here, or I can cross multiply. Where I would go, okay, 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times x is x, and then I would bring that equal sign down. So the answer is 16 quarts. How many pints are in 3 quarts? Okay, so I'm going to look for pints and quarts. I've got this line right here. Quarts to pints. And it says, actually first I'm going to label them pints and quarts. 2 pints is 1 quart, and it doesn't matter which order you do it in. But it wants to know how many pints are in 3 quarts. So this is my unknown. And I can go find my scale factor this way, times 2. Times 2. So the answer is 6 pints are in 3 quarts. Okay. Let's flip it over. And I'm going to let you guys do these on your own. If you need a STAR chart, ask me. I have a few. There's one other thing that I do want to look at real quickly, though. And I'm going to do it right here on this page. Just so you see it. Let's say we want to go from gallons to pints. Okay? Now, here's the problem. On the STAR chart, it does not tell you a direct correlation. There's not a gallons to pints. There's a gallons to quarts and a quarts to pints. So when you set this up, you may have to do 2 proportions. Or you can multiply. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I can do gallons to quarts and get 1 to 4. And let's say I want to know how many pints is in 2 gallons. So I would do 2 gallons. I would find my scale factor times 2 times 2. So 1 gallon equals 8 quarts. Sorry, 2 gallons equals 8 quarts. And then I would set up my quarts to pints. It says 1 quart equals 2 pints. 1 quart equals 2 pints. And I want to know how many pints are in 8 quarts. So I can find my scale factor times 2 times 2. There are 16 pints in 2 gallons. Okay. And that is how you would solve that problem.